Let me just get something set up here real quick. Hello. Alright. Let me just check real quick to see if this is working. Let's see. You might hear a little bit of feedback in a second here. Alright, here we go. Okay, it's working. I was just turning my sound up to make sure you all can hear me. Whoa. Okay, so let me tell you a little story while I finish getting all of this settled here. I am going to show you what card we're making. We are making this card right here. It is a Magic Irish card. I'm sorry I keep looking off to the side. That's where my live camera is, where I can actually see what you can see without the delay on YouTube. So this is the card we're making, this fun little interactive Magic Irish card. And normally this is not something I would do, make a card ahead of time for a live like this, but there's a story behind this one. So I'm going to switch to the overhead camera so we can get started, and then we will do our thing and I'll tell you the story behind the card. So let me switch cameras real quick. There we go. Alright. We're also going to do a little TV magic today. So, the story behind this card is that and why we're even live today, honestly, so all the same story, is that I filmed this card, I don't know, way back in December maybe, and I got a new camera in November right before I was on Stamp Wars because my old camera did not do live streams. So I filmed a couple videos to try to figure out the camera, went to import them to my computer, and 3 of them corrupted. That was not fun. I know anybody does YouTube, you know that's not fun. You don't want your videos to corrupt. That's very sad. And I unfortunately had already deleted them off my camera, or I probably would have been able to save them. And this was one of the cards that got videos that got corrupted and deleted. And I just didn't have time to film a new video. So I was like, okay, I guess we're starting 2026 live streams early. So we are starting our live streams all the way in November, a whole 3 months earlier than I had planned to. So that's fun. But we're going to do this really, really fun interactive card together now, and that's also very exciting. So we're going to play with some solar paste today. And I really like this product. It's a lot of fun, I think. I got some in a Crop and Create box forever ago. And that is where I sort of learned about it. And now I just have been having a ton of fun with it. In fact, I just found something that was missing. That's another story for later. I'm going to move them, though, so I don't lose them again. No, wait, this isn't the missing thing. No, they're still missing. That was something else. And then we're also going to use this stencil set from Lawn Fawn, which I've taken the stencils out of the package already because I've already worked on a few things. And then this is a Snowflake background stencil from Lawn Fawn, so we're going to use that today as well. So solar pastes are a really fun paste, I think. They're almost, to me, this isn't what they are. I'm going to do an awful job explaining this, but to me, they're almost a cross between a glitter paste or a glimmer situation. I have to remember which way I do these stencils. And a metallic paste. That's the word I'm looking for. And they, so I think they look really cool. And they look even cooler when you do them on like a black cardstock or a dark colored cardstock in general. Sometimes it just makes this really cool color shift thing. That's what they really are, is they're like color shifting pastes. So I like to put down a piece of paper towel underneath my project when I'm doing paste stuff, because I don't like to clean up after myself. So I don't want to have to wipe all the paste off of the table. So this paper towel I ripped a little bit too, so I gotta be a little bit careful so I don't have to wipe the paste off the table. But that's what I like to do. I like to use paper towel just because I can throw it away. If you have a piece of scrap paper or something, you can do that too. But I recommend anything that you can just like throw away when you're done with it is the way to go when you're doing messy pastes like this. So we are going to start with this is the beluga color, it's blue. And I'm going to just scoop a little bit out of the jar, and then I'm going to spread it over my stencil, and we're going to get some really cool stuff going on here. You guys could kind of see, I didn't show it for very long, but you can kind of see what it was going to look like when I showed you the finished card. Now, this is a paste. It does take time to dry. So, thanks to some sort of TV magic, if you will, I did do each of these steps separately before I started filming. Oh, I forgot to mention something too. We'll go back to that in a second. Before I started filming. So, that will help us not have to wait forever for things to dry, because I didn't think you guys would want to do that, and I also don't want to do that. So, now, we are going to put this on, and the thing I forgot to mention, before I forget again, because I will, is that I did die cut this ahead of time as well, and if I was really smart, I wouldn't have done that, but I did. So, I die cut all of these with the Lawn Fawn Magic Iris add-on die. And I did have time this morning to go in and link all of the supplies in the description below. They are affiliate links, so I do get a little bit of a commission when you guys use those links. It doesn't cost any extra for you, but I do get something if you use those. And if you do, thank you very much. So I'm just going to finish putting on this blue, which I'm almost done with. You probably don't need as much paste as I use. I tend to be one who uses a little bit more of everything, really, than I need to. Adhesive, paste, all of that. I tend to go a little bit crazy. Okay, so the blue is done. I'm going to put the blue away. And then as far as cleanup for these goes, is you don't want to forget that they do become permanent when they dry. So I'm switching colors now, so I'm going to wipe off the palette knife because I have another one, but I don't really want to make that one dirty too. But you want to clean these off like right away, because if the paste dries on here, it is not coming off. So for today, normally I would take this like directly to my sink and wash it off. For today, I just have a little it's just like a foil pie pan of water off to the side here, and I'm going to let that soak in there, and hopefully it'll be enough, because the pie pan is really not quite big enough for these stencils, but that's what I had handy. So now I'm going to pick this one up. I'm going to set this one aside to dry, and I will use it on another card some other day. And I was thinking about this morning, because I prepped all of these last night. And I was like, I should have, for the sample ones, not die cut them, so that I would just have like snowflakey panels that I could use for other cards. But I die cut them, so I might have to make a few more of these. Okay, so these pastes don't take forever to dry. I have another piece of paper towel here too. These don't take forever to dry, but this is what you get when you have them dry. You get these really cool, and the color really shows up on the dark cardstock. When you use it on white cardstock, do I have any handy? I should have a scrap of it somewhere. This is a little bit of a weird scrap. Let me cut a little bit off of it. It's all bent, so I've just been using it for die cutting. But I'm going to do a little bit. Whoops. And I'm going to drop it and not be able to find it. Alright, new square. I'm going to do a little bit of a swatch for you guys of this on the white cardstock that we'll just let dry. And then hopefully by the time we're done, it'll be dry enough for you to see the difference. This is far enough away from the other one that I'm not horribly worried about it getting on my purple situation that I'm about to do. Alright, we'll let that dry over there before we add the purple one in a minute. But just so you can see the difference between... And this is how you get it on your table when you're not paying attention. More paper towels to the rescue. Do you guys also keep paper towels in your craft room? I think I forgot to fix my chat settings here. 1 second. I did. Alright. Okay. So, now we're going to do our purple one. I also have heard people take and put press and seal in these. I did at one point because I had like a little tiny like sample size of some of this one, I think, of the beluga one. You guys can't see that. Of the beluga one back from Crop and Crate, and obviously I got a big one. But I kept some press and seal in that one for a little while just to keep it good, because I'm not quick when it comes to my paste skills. So, but really it stays pretty good. And maybe that's just where I live, because I know sometimes it can depend on where you live too. And then this is what it looks like when it dries. I see Shelly says that everything in card making is messy. It really is. I actually also have here. I do have baby wipes over here too, if I should need them. And a whole little bowl of stamp chamois. So there are definitely cleanup options around for sure. But I am awful at cleaning up after myself. So that's why we try to make as little mess as possible. But it doesn't always work that way. You should see me trying to scrub my glass mat down before I started the live. So I'm going to line up this other stencil. This one I find it's not really like a very helpful, like gives you an easy time lining it up kind of stencil situation. So I do have to sometimes fiddle a little bit, but I've done a few of these now, so I've got a pretty good eye for where it needs to go. And that looks about right. I just tend to lean over it and look and see if I can find any of the blue bits showing through, and I don't see any blue bits showing through, so that means we should be good to go with our purple one. And the purple one is called Royal Flush. And if I'm remembering correctly, because I'm hoping I was maybe this smart, I think there's an Astro Paste video coming out. Not Astro Paste. I did this in that video too. A Solar Paste video coming out next week. I'm pretty sure, because I don't think it was supposed to come out next week, and then I realized that I was doing this for the live, and I was like, oh, I should probably put these two videos together because they're kind of friends. So there is another Solar Paste video that is coming. I'll show you. We're not using stencils in that one, or a palette knife for that matter. So talk about messy. That's messy. But it came out really cool, and I was really happy with it. And it's something I've been wanting to do with my Solar Paste since I first got it, and I'm so glad I finally got around to doing it. I also do use Astro Paste in it, which is probably why I kept getting confused in that video. I was talking about cleaning stencils a little bit earlier, and I had wanted to mention that with these pastes, I have two stories for you. The first one is, if you really look really closely at these stencils, I doubt the camera is going to pick it up, but if you look really, really closely at them, there are definitely spots where you can still see where the solar paste, or yeah, I was right that time. The solar paste hasn't washed off. And that's okay with me. This paste is pretty, like, thin. That's not really the right word either, but it doesn't leave, like, a chunky coating on your stencils, we'll put it that way. So as long as you get the most of it off, and it's kind of away from all the little, like, holes in the stencil, I find that you're pretty okay. Glitter paste, on the other hand, like if you Simon Hurley's Astro Paste, or the Gina K Design Starlight Gel, or I don't know who else has glitter paste right now, I think that you got to get that off a lot faster. I had a stencil, I don't have it anymore, I got rid of it, that I was mass producing some cards on, and I was doing like fireworks stencils, and it was back in the Gina K Designs Glitter Glitch Gel days, when that was like the popular glitter gel that was out. And I had all the colors out, and I was just like mass producing these cards that had these fireworks on them. So I was only kind of quickly wiping off the stencil in between colors. I wasn't really like cleaning it off. And that backfired on me. Something awful, actually. And I ended up with massively glitter covered stencil for pretty much ever. I couldn't get it off because it just dried on there so bad. So whenever you're using a paste in a stencil, if you really care about your stencil, you should definitely try to clean it off right away. So hopefully and usually like putting it in a bucket of water like I did, or a little pan of water like I am doing, will keep it at least wet enough until you can get it to a sink and actually get it like washed off. So we're putting this up kind of carefully. There we go. Put the stencil in the water so that it will hopefully soak and hopefully not stick to its friend in there. I didn't think about that. And now we're just going to let this one dry. And I'll have another one. The other thing to be careful of, but not really, it's not like the end of the world, is that I do tend to get over the edges a little bit when I do these pastes and things. So sometimes when they dry, they do kind of dry and stick. That's what I'm trying to say. They dry and stick. So be careful of that. I did have that happen a little bit earlier with one of my samples. Okay. Oh, I forgot to do this. 1 second. With the purple. Now, I don't know if this is going to dry before we go, because I did lay that on a little bit thick. But we will see. It should hopefully dry enough for me to show you what I'm trying to show you, though. The other fun thing you can do with Astro Paste, which I have not done recently, and haven't done it myself yet, but I did do it as part of that class, is you can actually dye this with a re-inker too, which is another really fun thing. And it's kind of why I think Solar Paste is one of my favorite paste products, because there's a lot you can do with it. Even more than your regular paste. Okay, so in a couple hours when that's all dry, we're going to end up with this. Very pretty, very shiny. I like it because it's shiny, not sparkly. Or like it's more shimmery than sparkly. So, there's that. Okay, now it's time to get out the intercut and start die cutting. Because where did my sample card go? I'm not the only one who like loses things the second they put them down, right? Like that's just an everyone problem, right? Okay. Now we're gonna start. I'm gonna do all the die cutting first. So we're gonna die cut all of the pieces to make the magic iris part that opens, and we're gonna die cut the snowflake and this little piece. I will say though, when I die cut this add-on piece, it cuts these little circles. So I'm gonna use one of these, or I'm gonna use. It's gonna cut another circle too, and I don't know which one I want to use. I feel like, because this one just cuts a plain circle. The other one cuts a stitch circle, which you kind of lose the stitching on anyway. So I don't know which one I want to use yet, but we'll see what I feel like doing. It might even be just which one do I grab when I get there. Get to that step. So I'm going to put this to the side for now. And I have this piece of black scrap paper that we're going to do much die cutting with. Okay. My handy dandy little intercut out here. I don't want to move that. He's not in a good spot. Alright. There we go. That's a better spot for him. And my plates that are still going strong, they have not crashed in half yet, so it's still here. I will actually be kind of amused if it happens to do that on the live. That would actually make me laugh a lot. And I would think it's very funny. Okay. Here's my handy little die set. So this is how I store, well, I don't have the box over here right now, but I have these little binders that I store most of my dies in. I've started putting my coordinating dies together with their stamp sets, but all of my standalone dies, interactive dies, alphabet dies, basic shape dies, all of those things go in these little binders on these little 3-hole punched magnets, and they live in little binders on my shelf. Okay, we're going to start die cutting now. So my intercut is set to die cut and my tension dial is set to 0 because it shouldn't need to go higher than that. I've done a couple of these now, so I know it should work. Also, there's the proof. I cut into my platform last time I did this, so I forgot I did that. Alright. And also, you can cut in, well, hold on. I shouldn't say that. You shouldn't cut into your platform. It's not a good idea. But if you do, it's not the end of the world. Don't make a habit out of it, though. Okay. I always keep little bits of tape, like glow stick tape, on the top of my intercut so that it's handy for me to be able to tape things down. And I know, like, you can do like the magnetic platforms and stuff. I have never met a magnetic platform that I get along with, so I prefer to just tape things. So we're going to cut 3 of these big circles. If you're doing this for the first time, I do sort of recommend that you cut them all in different colors, because I know the first time I did one of these, it took me a little while to be able to get it figured out. And I think having multiple colors would help. So that's my recommendation. Okay. So I'm going to pop out that little circle. See, I'm going to use this circle, I think. And then, oh, that doesn't want to come out. So there's multiple ways that you can get these out when they stick like that. You can use the right side of your pick and stick tool, not the side that doesn't do anything. Well, that side does something, but it's not going to help us right now. And you're going to use your pokey tool, or your pick and stick tool, or whatever, to get it out that way. And now I'm probably going to have to do the same thing when I cut out the second one. So, I'll show you the other way. Which, depending on how you're feeling that day, the other day might also be the correct answer. So, you can decide based on the day what you want to do. on to that for a little bit longer because I think I can cut some of the smaller pieces out of it yet. Okay, so let's pretend you're not having a good day. We'll still pop the center circle out because that one's easy. And you need to get this circle out. This is the other option. That was too high. It doesn't work if you do it from too high. You can just like throw the die around and eventually it'll pop out. It just popped out enough that you can pull it out. So like if you're in a really bad mood, maybe just die cut some stuff and throw the dies around until the die cut comes out. I mean, you have to be kind of responsible about that, but it might make you feel better. Alright, I'm going to do the last circle. It is kind of nice, though, because you do have to cut so many circles, but then you do get these fun little circles, too, that are kind of nice to have around, just to have around. And then they're there for you to grab them if you want them, or need them for something else. This, I kind of joke, is the interactive card of 3s. You need 3 of pretty much everything. Pretty much all the pieces for this card. Not a few of them you don't, but most of them you do. Okay. I'm going to start with this same... That one didn't want to cut so good, but that's okay. You won't actually see these circles when you're done anyway. So, they just have to kind of exist. If you are doing a card where you're not using the add-on, though, then you will see the circles. I have a few of those on my channel. I should have linked those in the description. I will try to remember to link those at the end of the video. I should have went with the throw it method on this one. It doesn't want to come out. There we go. Okay. I did 2 other videos with this, which is why I'm super comfortable with doing it on live, because I know I don't have to look up the directions, because I've pretty much got it now. That being said, I do have the directions over on my phone if I need them. So, Shelly's giving us words of the day in the comments, by the way. But Tom is not here, so that's his thing. I'm not going to steal it. I do have the directions on my phone, in case I need them. Hopefully I won't. Okay. Lanfon calls this piece the little sausage piece, which is pretty accurate. But we also need 3 of these little guys. I don't feel like tossing them around, so I'm going to just poke them out. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to go back to this big piece and see if I can get... This is the other fun thing with, like, interactive cards, is sometimes they're a fun way to try to use up your scraps. Now, some of them have really big pieces. But I will grab, after I get all this stuff die cut, I have another interactive card that we're going to do for a live, because it was one of the other videos that got corrupted, but I really liked the card, so I kind of really want to do it to share with you guys. The other one was kind of boring, so I'm not really overly sad that that one got corrupted, but these two, this one and then this other one that we'll do eventually, I don't know when, because I have other plans for February and that are a little bit secret right now. And then I have another plan for March, I think, but I might not do that one in March. I might do that one in April. We'll see. We'll see. I don't think that's going to fit on there. I think we're going to need another piece. So this is what I lost earlier, by the way, because I know I kind of hinted at this, that I was missing something. I usually keep, like, a bunch of A2 sized cardstocks just around. Not just around, but, like, in a little basket over here on my desk, so that they're easy to grab for when I do things like this that I'm trying to do die cutting stuff, and I can't, obviously, like, an 8.5 by 11 sheet is not going to fit through my Intracut. So, I have craft black, white watercolor paper. I also have some, like, text weight paper that I put inside my cards when I use a dark card base to write on. And I took all of the little black pieces out because I was like, oh, I'm going to need these to do this card, so I'm just going to grab them all out. So I have them. And then now I cannot find them anywhere. I took them all out yesterday. I did all the prep for this video yesterday. And I went to die cut the add-on panels to pre-do the paste so that they would dry. And I literally cannot find them. I don't know what I did with them. They just went poof. I cleaned my whole desk. I don't know where they are. I thought maybe I put them back in the basket. They are not in the basket. So the only thing I can think of is I'm like, did I throw them away? Because I did take the garbage out. So I'm like, maybe I accidentally threw them away. So I can't be the only one that just like loses stuff in their craft room like that. But it happens all the time. So I'm hoping I pulled everything out that I need for... We are going to do things a little bit differently than I did on the first one, because I have learned some things. But I also hope I actually have everything that I need. Okay. More die cutting. We need 2 of these guys, which should be able to come out of... Or actually, we need 3 of these, because I told you it's the interactive card of 3s. So, going to cut 3 of these little tabby guys. The tab guys, when we get to installing them, those are always the trickiest part of these cards, I think, to me. So, I don't know, if that's the case for everybody, but for me, I just have a hard time with them. See, I feel like I should have pre-did some of this too, but that's okay. We can do it together. I think I'm going to get all 3 of these out of this one piece of cardstock. Yay for using up scrap cardstock. We like that. Are you guys like scrap hoarders, or are you like me and you just tend to throw it away? I do not like to keep scraps around, so the fact that I kept this black piece around is saying something. Now, normally I wouldn't have thrown out the whole thing, because all I had used previously was this little corner. I wouldn't have thrown out the whole thing, because that would have been a little obnoxious. But I would have, like, cut off that section, like, this whole section, and then just kept this bottom half. I'm trying to be better about that, about keeping and using my scraps a little bit more, and not getting rid of them so quickly. I got some new paper storage for Christmas. I got all these stamp and storage paper things for illustration set. I had 2 of them, and I got 1 more of them for Christmas, and I'm hoping that it'll make it easier for me to like use up my scraps and store them, because I want to put little envelope, like little stamp pockets with everything in it. But yeah, see, that's Shelly was saying that she's got a size limit, and that's kind of how I feel about it too. But my size limit used to be much bigger than what Shelly's is. I used to do mine as like anything A2 or bigger I would keep. So anything smaller than A2 I would get rid of. And that was a little much. Like, I haven't quite figured out the size that works for me. I know that size is pretty good for me, but yeah, see, and my Aunt Renee is here, and she says that She keeps more than she should. And actually, that was my mom too. So maybe it's a sister thing, but I think that's why I don't keep that many scraps, because my mom used to keep all the scraps, and it used to, like, it was always too much and way too overwhelming, and I was like, no. But then I feel like I overcorrected, and now I don't use them enough. Okay, let's get this out. Okay. Now we have 3 of those. Alright, that's it for all of our 3s that we need. Now, is there enough paper on here to cut this guy out? There is. Now, I'm just going to cut out this little tab guy. I only need 1 of him. And then I need to get out... Let me check something quickly. No, you are just the regular paper. Okay. Wait for this time. For this time, I planned ahead. I can already tell you, I am not planning February's video ahead. So, February should be crazy. And very interesting. I know what I'm doing. I can't tell you what I'm doing yet. It's a secret. But it is hopefully going to be good. And I'm not planning the projects ahead, so we're going to figure it out as we go. Which is a lot more my style. That's usually how my videos are, is I just sit down and see what happens. I usually have some kind of idea, and it kind of like what I'm for February. I have products I want to use, but I don't know what we're going to do with them. It's going to be a surprise to everybody. Okay, I want to die cut this last piece out. Guys, I found them, the black panels. I just moved something, and they're here. Yay! I can still use those. Okay. I have to restock my little panel basket. It is very sad right now, so that needs to happen. Anyway, that kind of made my day. I'm glad I found those. I was just like, where did they go? They were under the die set. That's where they were. Where technically they were supposed to be the whole time. So, I mean, hey. Okay, this is some of the worst glitter paper I've ever used in my life. But we're going to use it, because I'm trying to get rid of it. And this is one of those, like, I am not keeping the scraps from this. This is, I do not recommend. It's not linked below because I don't like it. And it takes a lot for me to say that. Most things are very tolerable. But this is just not, this isn't nice glitter paper. And I think it's also just old. I don't even know how long I've had this, and I'm pretty sure I got it from somebody else. So, I'm pretty sure it's very old, and I think that is a huge part of it, and that's okay. Not everything is going to be great all the time. I don't like it because it sheds something awful. I end up with glitter all over myself, and all over. I should have worn my glitter all the things shirt today, because I knew I was doing this. And I have other brands of glitter paper that I really want to try. And I really want to try Lawn Fawn's. Has anyone tried Lawn Fawn's glitter paper? Let me know. But I really want to try theirs, because I think theirs is... lots of Lawn Fawn stuff is great. We're using a lot of Lawn Fawn stuff today. But, see, like, glitter everywhere. And, like, I'm going to flip this over and cut it, and there's going to be glitter all over the little platform, and there's going to be glitter all over everything. Which, like, you know, it's one of those, it's glitter paper. It's not really a problem. It comes with the territory, but this stuff, I've used a lot of glitter paper, and this stuff is just really bad with shedding. I've had others that, I haven't really found a glitter paper that I really, really like yet. That's not true. A few years ago, Christmas 2020, maybe? Shelly will know. She'll correct me, or she might know. Oh, Taylor has them? Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that Concord or Ninth or Taylor had them. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to look into that. Gina came out with glitter paper. Do you remember when that was? I don't know. I think it was Christmas 2020. And that was some of the best glitter paper I have ever used, and I love it. but it was a very limited release thing, and I'm hoarding what I have of it, honestly. But that's okay. And it's also only red, green, gold, and silver, so color options are a little limited. Okay. Now we need a black one. Oh, see it? Look, I messed up, you guys. Hold on. We're gonna fix my mess up. That's okay, though. I forgot that I needed to cut. I was like, I need black, but what else do I have left to cut? I was supposed to cut the sausagey pieces out of this, not the other black. So we're going to do that really quick. I'm just trying to get all my die cut pieces done. This is the other reason this is good for a live. Yeah, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Shelly said it was the smooth glitter paper, and yeah, that's it. And I know we only had it for a year. I just couldn't remember what year it was, but I'm pretty sure it was 2020. Pretty sure it was that year. But yeah, it's cool because it's almost like a glitter printed paper rather than like an actual glitter paper. So you really don't get any of like the shedding and stuff that you get with some of these, like this one. Because I remember the black is worse than the white. Oh, you guys can't even see it. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it. Alright, I'm gonna get these guys cut out. And then I have to go back to the white briefly because I have to cut out our snowflake. And then I think we're done die cutting. We would have been pretty much done already if I had done this right the first time, but that's okay. That's why it's relaxing Create Live, because it just, whatever happens, happens. Which is my motto always in crafting. We just kind of roll with it. See, this is how you know my plates are starting to go, because every once in a while I get these little tiny bits that just don't quite want to cut all the way through. And that's usually a spot where my plate is a little bit unhappy with me. Okay, one more sausage bit. Yeah, it just gets everywhere. I'll show you the dye too up close in a second after I run this through, because it is just everywhere. I remember it being worse last time though, so I mean, I don't know, maybe I was just in a weird mood not to deal with it that day. Okay. Also, don't recommend doing this with glittery paper your first time, because some of it's kind of hard to see. Okay. Look at all this glitter. Ugh, you really can't see it that well on camera, but yeah, it's just, I mean, it's everywhere. Okay. Let me quickly just wipe this off. I'll deal with the dye later, but let me get it off my stamp platform quick. Normally, I would also take a Swiffer duster to this. Oh, yeah, that. But I don't want to get it out right now, so paper towel will do, and it'll just get all over me, and that's alright, because I'm not going anywhere after this, and I can just jump in the shower and get it all off. Well, I mean, really, it's glitter. It's probably not all going to come off, but I can get a good chunk of it off. Okay. So, we had that piece we cut. And we just need our snowflake piece, and then we'll be almost done with die cutting. We'll have all of our pieces. this is the Snowflake add-on die from Lawn Fawn. They have a couple different ones. I think they have like a scallop one, they have a snowflake one. They used to have like a tropical leaves one. Maybe that was something different though. I don't know. They have a bunch of add-ons. That's one of the things I like about like the interactive Lawn Fawn dies. They have a heart one that's really cute too. It's the, I don't remember. I think it's just that like rectangle add-on. I don't know. I'd have to go look it up because I cannot remember at the moment. Okay, we're not quite done die cutting yet, so we're gonna leave that out. And then we're gonna see. This doesn't look like it wanted. Oh, so now we have a white sparkly circle if we want it. I don't want it today. And then we have a white sparkly snowflake that still has black glitter on it, but hey, it's alright. Okay, there's our white sparkly snowflake. I will say, okay, for as much as this sheds, it is really, really pretty. Like, it is super sparkly. This one also needs all of these little bits punched out of it, but I don't want to do that right now, so we'll save that for later. Okay. One last bit of die cutting. I need to take one of these circles. I'm going to take the one that's a little funky here. And I need to cut out this piece. Right here. Lawn Fawn calls it the flux capacitor piece, which, as a Back to the Future fan, I really enjoy. Okay, so this is probably the trickiest die cutting piece. I'm going to try to make sure you can at least kind of see what I'm doing. Of this whole endeavor. So, you're going to take this centerpiece, and you're going to line up the centerpiece right with the center of your circle. Like so. There we go. And then we're going to flip this over. And we're going to run it through. And then we are done with all of the die cutting. We're going to put, we might be, I don't know. I might bring this back out. I've miscounted my die cuts before, but I think that should be everything. We don't need these little cutout pieces, so they can go. And then we will carefully take this off. There we go. Okay. Now we can get to the fun part. The building part. I'm just going to throw those out because they're starting to get not so great. Alright, I'm going to get rid of these extra sausagey pieces that I cut first. Okay. So, we're going to start with this piece. This is actually kind of bothering me, and I'm going to cut it off. So we're going to take these little glitter sausages for our first step. And we are going to stick this little tab bit, there's like this little tab thing on the end, and we are going to stick that into there. And then we're going to, there we go. Then this inside curved piece will stick. Well, not stick. I haven't glued it down yet. But it will go, it'll line up with the inside of the circle. That's what I'm trying to say. And then we're just going to do that with all three of them. like so. There we go. And then we're just going to make sure they're all in a nice little spot. Okay, now this part is why I don't recommend doing this. Ooh, let me get rid of that. I don't need that anymore. Is why I don't recommend doing this with glitter paper for your very first time. Because this next part is hard to see. So, we're going to use, I have the small dots. You need to use the small dots, the small glue dots. It has to be this size though. I believe it's 1/16. It says on here somewhere. 3/16. You have to use the 3/16 ones though because the other ones are too big. I just like getting these out of the box. Bro, come on. There we go. Okay. And you can see all the glitter on it from the last time. Okay. So I'm going to simply pick up these little dots. And then I'm going to get right over this. So you're not really going to be able to see what I'm doing. But each of these has tiny little like X on them. We're really not going to be able to see it. Hold on, I have the other ones. I knew I did this for a reason. So all of them have this little tiny, you can kind of see where my hand was showing through there. They all have a little tiny camera focus. There we go. They have a little tiny X on them. That you're going to stick the glue dot on top of. That little tiny X. There are probably better ways to do this than picking them up with your fingers like I'm doing. But that's what I'm doing. There's that one, and then one more. This is actually the best I've done this, I'm not going to lie to you. Normally, I make a mess out of these glue dots, but really that was not bad today. Okay. So now I'm just going to like reposition them back to where they're supposed to be. And I'm going to take another one of these circles and I'm going to stick it right on top. Like so. And then I'm going to fold this over. We're going to get out these tricky little tabby boys that I don't love. So one side of these is meant to fit like perfectly against this inside bit. But to me, they both fit. So I don't really know what to do with that. And I'm going to take some of this tape. Normally I will use my Gina K tape, but I ran out and I only recently got more, and now I'm just trying to use up this roll, which is getting there. And you're going to take the tape and you're going to put it like right here. Like there's little, I'll show you in a second. Let me get some on there and then I'll show you. So there's these little like, see, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have showed you this in black, but if I tilt it in the light, you can see it. There's these little like curved bits here, and those ones are where we're gonna put the tape, like right in this little bits here. Actually, hold on. I'm second guessing myself. That might not be right. Let me just double check that I did that right. Oh yeah, I was right. I knew what I was doing. Shouldn't have second guessed myself. Okay. And now we just stick each of these little guys in to their little spots. Yeah. Or stick it to yourself. I mean, hey, that works too. Okay. Now, we need to attach this little tab. So I usually put it down here. Like, I don't, my circles, I guess, mine never really have, like, a specific direction that they have to go, if you catch my drift. So, what you want to do, well, actually, you should also do it the right way, is line up this guy. Why does this feel not quite right today? We'll see. If it doesn't work, we will go back and fix it. I just realized that I have very much solar paste all over myself. Oh no, because I skipped a step. 1 second. Do it the right way, Sammy. That'll help. See, I started second guessing myself, and now I'm like, what? How do I do any of this? So now you have to fold these guys over. You want to just put a little bit of glue on the ends. You don't want them to be super tight because you want your circles to move. Yeah. Okay. See, this is the part where I go over here and I will peek at this card and see where's everything attached and how did I do this. Okay, no, I had it right. Where's this boy attached at? Hold on a second. I just made myself confused. I started thinking too much. I did. I started thinking too much. Okay, hold on. Get this off here. I had it right. So we're going to glue this heel. It just looks funny to me for some reason. Maybe because it's supposed to go this way? That's why, because it's supposed to go this way. There we go. So, when you do this part, you have to glue this on, and you want to kind of make it make a little V with whichever little tab is closest to it. We're going to see if this works. So like I said, I'm second guessing myself like crazy right now. And then I always have trouble with this part too. My brain does not process the direction in which this is supposed to go. I remember having a hard time with this. But, you know what helped? It's this. So if I lined it up with this, it seems to help me figure out the correct direction. There we go. And we're going to put that on last. Not get ahead of ourselves here. Yeah, okay. Now we got it. Okay, now we do this part. This is the part on these that I always get lost on. Is as soon as I have to put that other tab on, I'm like, wait. And now we're going to put some glue on here, fold them over. Don't let them touch. Well, you have to let them touch, but don't get them so tight that like they can't rotate. Okay. This is the time we test. If this doesn't work, then we know I did something wrong and we got to go back and fix it. Alright, ready? Yeah, nope, it's not right. Okay. We're not right here. Hold on. This is the part that's wrong. I can test it though and figure out what I did wrong. Because one of these will spin and one of them will not. And then this has to be on here. I believe. Yeah, okay, there we go. That is one thing, is if you're like me and you forget how things work sometimes, or a lot of times in some cases, you can very easily with the Lawn Fun ones kind of test them and be like, oh wait, that's not working, until your brain remembers exactly how they go back together. We're just going to take that glue off of there. And then this one goes on here. And these fold up like so. And now this should work. So I'm just doing the same thing I did before, putting a little glue on it, making sure it's not on too tight. This is also why, like, I tend to still use dot type tape on my interactive cards because I can undo it easily if I make a mistake. Some people will tell you to make sure you use a super strong adhesive, which is also not incorrect. There we go. But if you make a mistake, it's a little bit harder to fix. You can even see this one's not quite perfect. I don't think I quite lined up my tab exactly right. So it is not quite closing all the way, but I might be able to fix that. So let's see. I might be able to get us a little more room. Nope, I can't. It just fell apart. Okay, hold on. We open this. So mine's not going to quite close all the way, but that's alright. I don't think my first couple did either. You still won't be able to see anything, so it's okay. Once you see what we're going to put in the middle. I might, yep, I thought so. Should have just glued it back down in the start, but didn't do that. Oops. Push it up. Okay. Stick that down. And then I'll put more glue on here just to make sure everything sticks. This is funny because this is exactly what happened in the video that Corrupted 2, and I was all excited because I was like, oh, I'm going to do it live and I'll actually remember how to do it. And apparently I'm still going to make the same mistakes again. So it really is like you're watching the original one. Oh, now you don't want to turn. Why? There we go. You're just being stuck. See, I think some of my sausage pieces shifted on me a little bit too. This one doesn't want to stick anymore now. But, because I can see some little bits hanging out. That shouldn't really be hanging out, but they are. There we go. And it even closes better now, too. Okay. Good enough. I think this is still a little bit off, but that's okay. Alright, moving on. That is the mechanism, though. That is the hardest part of this whole thing. I want to get some of this paper schnibbles out of the way. Okay, now. I glued this on underneath here, I believe. Nope, I glued it on underneath this way. We're just gonna wiggle the circle around till it, oopsie. These also fold back, by the way. I forgot that step. They don't have to get glued down though, they just have to get folded. Just to keep them out of the way. And now I'm going to try to line up my tab there. And now I'm going to try to get this guy figured out. I might have to move this again. I think I needed it to go on this side. See, last time I just guessed and I was right. This time I did not guess correctly. Let's see. Put you back there. Yeah, you gotta go over here. Oopsie, that's not right, is it? Alright, let's see if that spot works better. I feel like it will. test it before I do that. Well, all I did was move you. You shouldn't have this much of an issue. Oh, now you all the way fell off. Okay. That's alright. That's what glue is for. Where do I have this attached on this one? Because I'm confused why it's not working. Yeah, okay. That still had enough stick on it that it was alright. So you just really want to turn this direction. He has made a decision of which direction he wants to turn, and now I just need to make him work the way that I want him to. Which, really, hold on, let me see. Okay, we can make this work. Put you back together again. I may just have to die cut another little arrow piece. And he's gonna turn the opposite way of my other one. Or do I do something completely different? And go this way. Come on, buddy. There we go. I do remember having an awful time lining this up when I did this first one. Because it doesn't line up, and that's why I had such a hard time with it. There we go. Okay. Except that's still the wrong direction, isn't it? Because I need it to go down. He wants to go up. I wonder if it'll work if I do it this way. No, not at all. This is the fun of interactive cards. Sometimes they do what they want to do, and you just gotta figure it out. Oh, maybe I got it. Hold on. This is probably the correct answer that I should have done the whole time, is close it. And then do this fun part. Or kind of try to get it lined up. There we go. Yep, there we go. I made it way more complicated than I needed to. Per typical me. Alright, there we go. So mine is a little bit funky this time. It doesn't quite close all the way. But that's alright. Like I said, this was the first one that I ever got to close all the way. So, and I could probably fuss with this a little bit and move this over and then maybe get it to close a little bit more. But I don't think it's going to go all the way. So, but that's okay. We can deal with that. Alright. So there we go. Alright, there's that. Now, I think I want to do this next part first before I do anything else. We're going to do a little heat embossing real quick. This part will be fast, I promise. We got through the worst part. Everything from here on out is easy. Okay. Where's my anti-static solder tool? It is around here somewhere. There it is. Alright. Put that down. Grab this. Grab my stamp set. Which, this is one of the stamp sets that Lanfon made to go with this die set specifically. It's called, I think this one's Magic Holiday Messages. Fun fact, if you're a wreath builder person, these also work great for your wreath builders. They are perfect little center bits for your wreath builder. That's annoying that that just happened. But this sticky mat's not really sticky anymore, so I shouldn't be that overly surprised. But it's still pretty centered, so I'm just gonna go for it. I'm going to do it twice, just because this embossing pad's getting a little dry, and I don't really use it that often, so. Alright, there's that. Then we're going to use, this is what I'm doing that's different this time from the last time. This time I'm going to use silver embossing powder. On the last one I used white. I was trying to decide between silver and white on the last one, and I chose white, and I decided that was a bad choice. So, silver this time it is. This is the part that I was actually expecting to struggle with, because I am an awful heat embossing person. Heat embossing is not my strong suit. But I apologize if it's about to get really loud. I'm still learning all my software programs, and I am unsure if it has a noise canceling situation. So I'm going to be quiet because I don't know how loud this is going to be for you. And I will eventually watch this video back and see specifically this part and see if it cuts that out or not. This silver looks so much better than the white. I'm so glad I chose to go with this silver. So much better. Okay. now that I'm done being excited about that, where did this go? Here it is. I was a little concerned because I had a cover and that, not a jar, and that meant the jar was open, and that was going to be a problem. Okay, assembly time. I have over here a card base, and I'm going with black for the card base too, just to keep things all together. And I'm going to open this up again. There we go. And fuss with it a little bit, try to get it nice. And I'm going to put that down. This part is going to be very hard for you guys to see because it's all black on black on black on black on black. But, and then I'm going to slip this little guy kind of right in the center. Now he's the exact same size as all of these other circles. Maybe lining it up with this one will be better. Yeah. So getting him perfectly, well not perfectly, but very close to in the center. And then I'm going to remove, well actually I should have put glue on this first, huh? That would have been helpful. Stick it down first. Now I'm going to stick this in here. Like so. There we go. Now he's pretty centered. He's not quite straight, but he's centered. Or where I want him to be. And then, ooh, I might have to fix this little dude here. Okay. Now I'm going to close that. Actually, no, I don't want to close him yet. And I have to trim him. Let me do this quick. Let me put some more glue on here. So this doesn't seem to want to stick. Now that I've figured out how this works, there we go. And before I stick him down, I'm going to cut this off because it'll be much harder to do after. See, now I'm back on track. Like, now my brain has, like, rejoined the conversation. And now I'm like, oh, yeah, I know how this works. Just, like, went away for a minute. Okay. And now, I have to remember, I know this part I put down with foam squares. I don't remember if I put the actual wheel, but no, I didn't. I'm gonna stick this down. Like so. And now I'm gonna close it. But not quite all the way because it's a little messed up. And line that up. Yeah, see, I haven't quite got this in the right spot, so it's a little bit funky. Oh, here, we can move this yet. Let's put this like this, and then rotate that a little bit so that we kind of got it figured out, alright, where it needs to be. And then let's move it, because let's make things complicated for ourselves. Alright. I'm going to do this a different way. Hold on. I am going to attach. It doesn't look like this is what I did the first time, honestly, but this is what we're going to do this time. we go. Now we know this piece is lined up. So now what I can do is I can open this. And now we're going to put foam tape on the back of here. And by foam tape, I mean foam squares, because I'm trying to use these up. Do you guys have like a massive adhesive stash? Because I have a massive adhesive stash. And it includes a ridiculous amount of foam squares for someone who does not enjoy foam squares. Or foam adhesive in general, if we're being entirely honest. That's not my jam. And I have so many of them, so I've been on a mission to like use them up. And watch, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to use up all these foam squares. And then I'm going to become a foam adhesive person because I've spent so long trying to use up all of the foam squares that I have. I know that's exactly what's going to happen. Now I'm going to pull all these off. Like seriously, the drawer, I have a whole adhesive drawer, right? Which I feel like for a paper crafter is fairly normal because you need different adhesives for different things, right? Like you need foam squares and you need glue and liquid glue and you need like glossy accents kind of stuff and you need tape runners and you need different glues for different things. Like you need a lot of different stuff, right? So I feel like that's not super weird, but I have an entire pile of Shelly wants to see the massive amount of foam squares, so after I stick this down, they're all in a pile in there, so I will just go grab them and show them to you. Okay. Well, actually, she just wants me to define massive, and she's right. They are all different sizes. Like they're not all the same, but they are. It is a pile. It has shrunk very much over the last little bit. In fact, is that all I have? Is it much smaller than I thought it was? I've made much more of a deck than I thought it was. I had. Is this? Yeah, because that's all tape. Shelly, thank you for making me look at this because it's not. It used to be twice this size. So I've been making good headway. But yeah, like they're all different. Like this is little tiny squares. This is like regular squares. These ones are not quite as tiny as the other ones. I've got some strips. I thought I used up all of these, but thanks for making me look at that because it's a lot smaller than I remember it being. So I'm in a lot better shape as far as getting these all used up. So that's good. But I do have the big foam tape rolls over here though. I do have these big boys, which are also considerably smaller and have lasted me several years at this point. So that's good. Oh, that made me really happy. It is not as bad as I remembered. It is very reasonable. But yeah, so there we go. There's our fun little, we had a couple little snags, but there is our fun little interactive card. And then we're just going to decorate it up just a little bit more by adding this snowflake to it. So I'm going to finish poking out all of these little pieces. Are you someone, okay, I was thinking about this the other day, because I was working on another video, and I was actually using a word die. It was a happy birthday word die. And I was cutting it out with my Intricut, as one does, and I was, like, really, really hoping all the pieces would stay in the die, so that I wouldn't, like, lose all the little pieces, like the little tittle and all of those, right? And so it got me thinking, because I feel like there's some people who would much rather that, like, all the little pieces pop out of the die, and they don't have to, like, go looking for them. Or, you know what I mean? And they don't have to do this part, like, poke them all out. But I'm one who would much rather they all like stick in the die and then I have to go through and poke them out, because if I need them, I know where they are. Like I was working on a crop and create class that I still hadn't done, and it was a Spellbinders one, so you know it was like all the die cutting, right? And they had wanted me to cut out these flowers in 2 different colors and then poke out the little insides and use the insides from one color and then use like the main part of the flower from the other and do like an inlay thing. And I thought it was really cool. But all the little pieces popped right out of the flower. And I did not like that. Because I was like, I am not going to sit here and match those all up. Or if they had stayed inside the flower, I would have just been like, okay, that's easy. Like, I'll just pop them out as I need them. So I ended up not doing the little inlay thing because I was just like, that was too much for me. So I would rather they did stay and I had to pop them out. But I feel like that's a personal preference situation for people. Okay, I've been looking forward to this part all night, you guys. I just got, like, okay, to be fair, I got it maybe like a week or 2 ago. But I just got the Genie K Designs matte glue. And this is the first time I'm using it. I just put it all in this bottle right before the live. Like, I was sitting here waiting for it to be 6 o'clock, and I filled up my glue bottle. So my matte one right now is the one with the washi tape on it, because I didn't have my label maker to make a label for it. So I will have to do that. But I am so excited to have this as an option, too. I used to think, like, I was like, I don't really care if the glue is matte or not. But now I have, like, it's one of those you don't know you need it till you have it kind of situations, where all of a sudden I was like, no, it's not that bad. Like, it still dries clear, like, no big deal. And everyone was like, but it's so shiny. And I'm like, yeah, but it's, like, not a big deal. Now I have the matte glue. Like, now the matte glue exists, and now it's a big deal. All the little shiny bits are a big deal. And I am a chronic over gluer person. Like, I put so much extra glue on things than I need to. It started out, honestly, this one time, I was just really upset with a teacher that I had. Well, I mean, it was a card making teacher. I was at a scrapbook expo class. Don't ask me what class it was. I don't remember. This was like a million years ago. But we were doing cards at this scrapbook expo class with a friend of mine and this lady. And I get it. Like, you know, we're all sharing glue. So, like, be respectful, be responsible with the other people around you. So I kind of get why she made a comment, but I don't think she made a very right comment. She was like, don't put too much glue on your projects because everyone's going to throw them away anyway. Which, I mean, like, to be fair, I'm not one who gets overly offended if someone throws my cards away. Like, I get it. They take up space, and sometimes clutter just needs to go. But I do have people that keep them for a very, very long time. I know my best friend has a whole little, like, box full of all the cards I've sent her over the years, and I mean, I don't really see the problem with using too much glue, I guess. Like, if I use too much and it stays together forever and they keep it forever, yay. If they throw it in the garbage, I don't really care, but, like, I'm just gonna use the glue that's gonna work. But I always put too much glue on things, so my point is, the matte glue is nice because I always put too much and then it, like, comes out the sides. And it's like, now that I have it, it's gonna bother me whenever that happens if I don't use the matte glue. Even though before it never bothered me. Never once. I didn't care. Alright. Have to get the extra sticky glue off my fingers because I don't like it. I'm not... Okay, my dad and I have gotten into this debate a few times. Not a few times, that's a bit dramatic, but a few times. He used to do a lot of, like, woodworking and stuff when I was growing up. He still does a little bit, but not as much as he used to. And he would let me downstairs in his workshop, and we would do projects together, and he would have the wood glue, and he'd be like, come here, Sam, and he'd, like, spray it, like, put some on my hands, And I would be like, ew, sticky. Like, why you put it on my hand? And he'd be like, well, just let it dry and then you can peel it off. And I hated that. Was not a fan. He was like, you don't do this at school with the glue? I'm like, no, because it's sticky. So we just have very different feelings on that. He likes to do that. He'd be like, well, I like when the glue dries on my hand because I can peel it off. And I'm like, I can't handle it being sticky. So, just different people. All right, there's our card, you guys. We did it. First live stream complete. Well, I guess not technically because I'm still going to say goodbye. But, there's our first card for the live streams. It's not perfect, but hey. Some things are better on the first one, some things are better on the second one, and that is the fun of making the same card more than once. They all still come out a little bit differently. But either way, I hope you guys got to see something fun and a little different today with a interactive card. And I know I tripped over it a little bit, but I promise now I made it stuck. But I promise once you really get the hang of them, they're not that bad. I think I'll have to look at this one again because it's being a little bit finicky. But either way, we're good. I shouldn't have played with it as much as I did. How did it get stuck? Well, that's okay. That's a later me problem. I'll take a look at it. Either way, we'll bring out the original one too, since that one actually looks a little bit better. Same concept though. But, see, now that one's stuck. There we go. Alright. Well, I'll keep working on this one. Alright, let me switch cameras, and then I'll say goodbye. Alright, back to this camera, and when I turned around, it reminded me we still have this too, which is definitely, actually it is dry. So this is the little swatchy that I made, and you can see, like, I might have to go back to the overhead for this, because I don't know if we're going to be able to see it on this camera. Like, it just looks white, but if I hit it, let me try the overhead again. Because I think the light hits it a little bit better on this way. No, not really. Well, I can see it. The camera doesn't really pick it up. I think it's just, if I tilt it towards the light, it just kind of blows it out rather than showing you the color. But it does still get the little sort of like color shifty like thing going on, the purple and the blue, but I don't think my lighting wants to play nice for that. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will post some pictures of all of these things. See, look, now it's working again. I was just playing with it a little bit more down here, and it's back to doing what it's supposed to be doing. Alright, so thank you so much for joining me tonight. We will be back in February on, let me look at which day. February 9th, I believe. I will be back, and I already have something kind of fun planned that won't be quite as complicated and involved as tonight, but hopefully we'll actually be making multiple cards. That's the goal. We're gonna plan to play that one by ear and see how many cards we can get done. I don't know if it'll be an hour. This one was about 2 hours, so I don't know, maybe that's our time together is about 2 hours. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again soon, and have a crafty day.